All right, I want to bring in Sean Spicer, Chief Strategist and Communications Director for the Republican National Committee. Sean, you heard the president right there. Eric Erickson, a conservative, last night tweeted during the speech, and thank you, Mr. President, for noting Donald Trump is neither conservative actually said Republican nor conservative. Is Donald Trump Republican or conservative?
Of course he is. Look, I think it was interesting what didn't get talked about last night. They mentioned Donald Trump a lot. They barely mentioned ISIS. They didn't talk about Iraq. They didn't talk about Israel. They didn't talk about national security. They didn't talk about the national debt. They talk a lot about Donald Trump, but they don't talk about what the policies and vision is for America right now. And I think that's because they represent the status quo. This is the status quo establishment ticket. And you have heard a lot of them talking about Donald Trump. But the fact is that they may not like what they heard in Cleveland, but when you ask, and it was the CNN poll that verified this, that the American people actually, by 76%, did like what they heard. He's talking about what's really happening in this country, the challenges that we face both domestically and abroad.
But he's also, President Obama was actually the one to name President Reagan, not Donald Trump, and that's leading some Republicans to say they're stealing our best lines. Are they?
No, look, I think by all accounts,
where's the optimism?
Right now? I think what American people want is reality. They want to know they're facing challenges at home, their fear for their safety, their fear for their family, and I think Donald Trump's speaking to that, and that's what I think a lot of people. A lot of politicians, a lot of, frankly, people in the media, and a lot of pundits just don't get. There's a reason that he continues to rise in the polls. It's because he's actually tapping into an understanding of the American people that no one's getting.
Sean Spicer, do you want Russia to hack Hillary Clinton's emails?
Absolutely not. I mean, look, let's look at what the reality is. Number one, she said that the emails that she didn't turn over were about yoga and Chelsea's wedding. We find out that actually there's a ton of classified information on there. I think that information, if Russia has access to it, hopefully they'll get that to the FBI. But this is a serious deal. Robbie Mook went on the air this morning on several places and talked about that this is a national security problem. Whoa, time out. Yes, it was a national security problem when she installed a secret server and allowed classified information to get put on this. She is the only candidate of the two that has had access to national security information and violated that trust.
But take the contents of the email out of it. The mere fact that Donald Trump said, hey, Russia, if you have access to the emails, we'd love to see them. Even if he says it's loose talk and it's sarcasm, can a presidential candidate afford to have loose talk like that? Is that not dangerous?
I think what's more dangerous is the fact that one of the two candidates actually did have access to the information, did make it vulnerable to foreign hacking.
But Sean,
and we're sitting around talking about what
you served overseas. Can you afford to have loose lips and be so?
I'd rather have, first of all, I'd rather have someone that's joking around than someone who actually violates that trust. There's actual class.
You think he was joking?
He was. He says he was joking, but I'd rather have somebody joking or being half serious or whatever, who actually put this country's security at risk.
What would your reaction be if Hillary Clinton had said, hey, Russia, I hope you can hack Donald Trump's email?
With her history, I would say after you did this, then to joke about it, that's really pathetic. The idea that we're not talking about what is potentially at risk here because of her inaction or her actions.
It is fine. There is plenty to talk about, and we have talked about the email issue and the scandal around that. I mean, we absolutely have. That's one discussion. This is the discussion, though, that it seems every Republican that we've tried to talk to tries to jump around the fact. Do you think it is dangerous or not when a candidate says
someone is joking around, they're joking around?
You think it's okay to be joking like that?
I think that when the context that he was saying and the real discussion, and it's not going around, it's saying, okay, that was a joke, but the reality is that we have serious national security problems. We have potential classified information that a foreign government is at risk, and we're talking about whether it's appropriate for him to joke about it. I mean, I think the priorities are wrong. The priority should be is our country at risk because of actions that Hillary Clinton.
Again, you can talk about both of those things.
Sean,
yeah.
Does Vladimir Putin have strong leadership qualities?
I think if you were a Russian, I'm sure you probably think he's tough. I mean, he's a tough leader.
Do you approve of your party's candidate for president saying admiring things of his leadership qualities?
Well, I think, look, there's one thing to look at someone objectively and say, is he a tough leader? Sure. I mean, he's been elected a few times. I mean, he served as prime. But the reality is that the only one with connections to Vladimir Putin are the Clintons. Their foundation's taken a ton of money from him. Clinton hit the reset button.
That's not necessarily true.
Hold on,
because
Bill Clinton
Donald Trump himself said at one of the GOP debates that they get along really well. They've met. They were stablemates for a 60 Minutes interview. He has said that himself.
Right. So he was stablemates and a 60 Minutes interview. He didn't take.
He's the one that
fees.
touted it.
It's Bill Clinton that got speech fees from him. It's the Clinton Foundation that got money from them. The relationship between the Clintons, they are doing a job
Sean,
of diverting.
So the answer that you've given us on the emails and on Putin has essentially been, I know you are, but what am I? It's essentially like,
no,
this
it's
may be
saying,
bad, but it's much worse.
No. To be clear, I just think that there is a bigger thing at stake. You actually have a relationship that exists. You have a money trail between the Clintons and Putin and the Russian government, and we're talking about like a couple of the comments that were made. I think that the focus is where the real action has been and the stakes that exist because of what she has done.
I asked House Speaker Paul Ryan, his team, yesterday to react to this, what Donald Trump said, that soundbite,
right,
when he said, hey, Russia, help me out. This is the response. Russia is a global menace led by a devious thug. Putin should stay out of this election. That sure sounds like, yet again, Paul Ryan is having to distance himself from Donald Trump. That's their reaction.
I think Paul Ryan's right. Putin is a menace. They should stay out of our elections. But again, I get back to the only reason they're potentially involved in anything is because the DNC was lax with their emails. Hillary Clinton allowed things to get hacked. I mean, their actions have allowed this to get where we are now. Let's not forget why we are where we are. Because Hillary Clinton installed a secret server and because the DNC did what they did. The reality is their actions got us here, not ours, not Donald Trump's.
Sean Spicer, fish out of water, Republican at the Democratic.
Thanks for having me on Kate's birthday. It's an honor to be sitting there.
Yes, this is how he wishes me happy birthday. Yeah.
Sean, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sean.
All right.